Greetings everybody and welcome back to Advanced Mapmaking Part 7 with me, slicedlime. Again, I have to start an episode with an apology. This did not happen last weekend, it happened this weekend, and if you follow my channel closely then you'll no doubt know that this is because I have been quite sick indeed. So instead of doing an advanced mapmaking tutorial last weekend, I spent my time sort of miserable in fever. Feeling much better now, so let's get back into it. Last time we started looking at a state transition. We have our game here with its two states. The state 0 being the lobby state and the state 1 being the ready check state. That's where we're heading. That's what our goal has been to get into. And last time we set up the checks needed and the commands needed to move us over into state 1. State 1 is a ready check state. We have the clock going here. Anything we put on this clock is going to tick all the time when we are in the ready check state. So here's where we're going to be putting all the commands that check if our ready check is over, and if so, what the result was. But we have to do something more important first, and that is this little bit here, entering state 1. There's a fair bit of work that has to be done when we start a ready check. So we know that we have at least one player in each team. Now we have to set up so that all of them get to participate in the ready check. That is what we're going to be doing on this thing. This, if you recall, was our state clock that checks that the state is now 1, but the old state, the state that we started this tick in, is in state 0, which means that we're switching over into state 1, and then we run all of these commands. Now, all we have on here right now is a tell raw to everybody that we're starting the ready check. We're going to expand this for sure, and the first thing we're going to do is hand everybody some snowballs. Now, if you've played Entrapment or if you've watched my videos of Entrapment, you'll know that's how I've made my ready checks. There's nothing preventing you from doing them any other way. The only thing you need in a ready check is some form of thing that lets the players select whether they are ready or not. That could be any old item that you consume, it could be any items that you drop or anything. I like using snowballs because they're fairly easy and obvious, and players have an easy time to understand what to do. So basically we're going to be issuing some give commands here. So we're going to give everybody a snowball. And that snowball is going to be 1 stack size and 0 for the data. So we're not going to put any special data value to it, but we are going to put the data tag into it. Now what we wanted to do here is we want to differentiate the two snowballs so they don't stack and so they mean different things. And the easiest way to do that, and an obvious way to do that for the player, is to put a name into it so that it displays as something different than just snowball. And to do that we put display colon and a subtag name, and let's make this one be ready. Now if we just run this command, it gives me a snowball and it's called ready. So that's pretty good. We know that that one worked. And of course you need two options, not just one. So let's give another snowball and let's call this one not ready. Now of course you might want some more flair on this. You might want the title the way I have it in Entrapment. That stuff is all easy. As you might have noticed, I've given you kind of the bare bones system in this tutorial series and not sort of all the nicer and polished details like colored messages and stuff. You get to do all of that yourself. If we copy that and try running it, we're going to see that we get a snowball and it says not ready. Perfect. Now all we need is one more thing as we start the ready check, and that is going to require another scoreboard objective. So scoreboard objectives add ready check dummy. Ready check status. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be storing the status for each player in this ready check scoreboard. So of course, the first thing to do as we're entering the ready check is to blank out that scoreboard. Scoreboard players reset everybody from the ready check scoreboard. Now that we have that scoreboard reset, all we want is one more thing, and that is a tag. Players tag at a add ready check. So we're going to add a ready check tag to everybody. That tag is going to be what determines if somebody is still in the ready check or not. So whenever you make your choice, we remove that tag from you and you're done. Now how do we track what your choice is? Well, that's in this command. We have a disabled command in this repeating command block. It's the first in our chain of things that run every tick in the ready check. So here's where we're going to start calculating stuff. So what we're going to do is scoreboard players set at A, tag equals ready check. Everybody who still don't know if they've chosen something, we're going to set their score in the ready check scoreboard to be 0. Okay, they haven't made a choice, we start them at 0. Easy enough. Now, we are going to be wanting to detect what snowballs players still have in their inventory. We've given them 2 snowballs, one called ready and one called not ready, and the point of this is not necessarily to detect when they get thrown, but to detect when they are no longer there. So if you drop your snowball on the ground, or if you throw it, it should both work and indicate that you've made your choice. So obviously that means that we're looking for whatever snowball is no longer there. We do that with a scoreboard command, so scoreboard players add at A, tag equals ready check. So everybody who's still in the ready check, we're going to add a score to them in the ready check scoreboard. And that score is going to be 1. And it doesn't end there, because we're going to add a restriction on their data tags. And what we're looking for is in their inventory. And the inventory is a list, and that list then contains some item that has a tag. And the tag contains a display section with a name in it. Boy. 1, 2, 3. I am missing there. That's what went wrong. And this name is not ready. Okay, so basically, if you still have a not ready snowball in your inventory, then we're going to add 1 onto your score. Oops. And yeah, copy all of that. And just replace a few value here. So if you're still in the ready check, we're going to add 2 to your score if you still have the ready snowball in your inventory. Okay, so that means that if you end up over here and you have a score of 1 plus 2, that means you have both the snowballs in your inventory still, so you haven't made a choice. However, if your score is less than 3, then we know you've made your choice and it's 1 or 2, where 1 means that you're ready because you still have the not ready snowball, and if it's 2, then it means you're not ready because you still have the ready snowball. So we do scoreboard players tag at A, score, ready check, 2. So if your ready check score is at most 2, then we're going to remove the ready check tag from you. And that means that as soon as you throw that 1 snowball, your score is going to settle at 1 or 2, and then it's going to stop checking you for that. Now there are a few more things that are related to this. So essentially, what we want to do is we want to clear the inventory of anybody who basically isn't in the ready check anymore. So if you're not tagged with the ready check, we're going to clear your inventory, and apparently I am still in that mode, so it cleared my inventory. That's a bit inconvenient, so let's actually add a mode equals yeah, let's go mode equals not creative here, so I can pick one of these up again. Now we're throwing snowballs around here. If you drop your snowball on the ground instead of throwing it, then it can be picked up by somebody, or you can pick it up yourself later on. It's probably a bad idea, so we're just going to go kill at E, type equals item here, and kill all the items. If you don't like this, you can always do like type equals item, x equals 0, y equals 0, z equals 0, and r equals whatever, 20. And just kill any item that is around the lobby area. So let's do that. And then of course the snowballs are also there, and they can actually hit one of the item frames and destroy it if you're using an item frame. So we're going to kill any snowballs too. That is basically the first step of the ready check working. And to show you how that looks, let's open this up to LAN and allow cheats, because otherwise things will go poorly. And let me get my helper in here. So as you can see, LimeSlice has joined the game. We're going to go over to game mode, to game mode 0 over here, meet up with LimeSlice over here. Let's see, we're both in different teams right now, but we have the game currently in the ready check state already, so we can't start it. So we're going to do scoreboard players set at E, name equals game, state 0. And we have a nice little joining effects to show that we are back in the lobby state. Now, do a ready check. You'll see I get a ready and a not ready snowball. And then the scoreboard, objectives, set display, sidebar, ready check. There we go. You'll see both of our scores is 3. Now, if I were to throw the not ready snowball, my score goes to 2. And if I have tell my friend Lime Slice to throw the ready snowball, then his score will be 1. And if he throws the snowball right at my face, then you see I don't get hit, and his score becomes 1. So that's all good, but now we're stuck. We have nothing going on, and the game doesn't really know that we have passed or failed the ready check. But we have the very basics. So let me teleport myself back to my command blocks. And let's add some more stuff onto this to start figuring out, are we done or not? By the way, one more thing before we move into that. I should mention, I'm not going to do it in this tutorial, but if you want a message for every person who decides who is ready or not ready, you can put that in here, before this block. If you put a block in before here, where we remove the ready check tag, then whenever somebody has a score of ready check that is 2 or less, but they also have the ready check tag, so you can check that in a selector, then you know that that person has just made their choice. They were in the ready check, but this very tick we're going to be removing the ready check, so you can send out a tell raw, and you can use that selector to tell everybody what their choices were. Now, what we want to do is figure out, did this ready check work? Was everybody ready or weren't they? First thing we need to figure out is there still somebody who hasn't made their choice? Now that's actually reasonably simple, and to figure that out we're going to reuse our game armor stand and we're going to reuse our ready check tag. So we're going to start out by doing scoreboard players tag at E, type equals armor stand, name equals game, remove ready check. Okay. So now we're sure that the game armor stand does not have the ready check tag. Then we're going to do an execute command for a player who is tagged ready check. So we still have somebody in the ready check. And just run it wherever they are, and it's going to do scoreboard. Well, it's actually going to do exactly the opposite of this. So let's just copy that command and do add ready check. Now at this point we know that if the game armor stand has the ready check tag, then somebody still hasn't made their choice. That means if it doesn't, then we are done and we can make our decisions and react to the ready check being done. We do that as usual with an execute command. The execute goes off of the armor stand. So at E, type equals armor stand, name equals game, and tag equals not ready check. It is no longer in the ready check state, so in that case we want to execute something. And what we want to do is another execute. You'll find this is a pretty common pattern. We nest our executes to sort of do if-then logic. We're executing for at P, so we're wanting to find one player who has a score in the ready check scoreboard that is at least 2. Well, what does that mean? Well, there's at least one player who chose not ready. And what does that mean in turn? Well, we want to do scoreboard players set at E, type equals armor stand, name equals game, and state 0. Okay, so if I go into game mode 0, we'll actually see directly what that means. The game has gone back into the lobby state because I was not ready. And we go click the ready check button, then we get our snowballs, and if I do not ready, and Lime Slice does ready, then we see that we end up back in the lobby state. We now have a way to go back. This it's very silent. Let's see, let's go back to our command blocks. We don't get any messages or anything, but it does loop back into the lobby state, which is pretty good. So that's a good start. And the nice thing is, here we can do just a conditional command block. And if that previous command ran, then it was something that actually set the score of the state back to 0. So we can do a tell raw at A, and we just include a text that says ready check failed. Aha. So now if this runs, then we get this to run as well, and it just does a tell. So let's do game mode 0, then go back here and test it out. Pick up our snowballs, throw the not ready one for me, and okay, we got it twice. This is an interesting thing that tends to happen in map making. So this is something you'll have to combat fairly frequently when doing maps. I've found is that whatever your state transitions are, they tend to tick another time before the whole mechanism catches up. In this case, I think what is going on is the fact that these are not executing in the correct order, which means that if this is conditional, it's going towards the result of this command block, the previous tick or something like that. Anyway, this for our case right now, this is very simple to fix. We can simply check here that we only do this if the score in the state scoreboard is at least 1. So we don't set it to 0, it's already 0. And now we should be good to go. And we can throw the snowballs again. And then we see we get ready check failed. So what if you want to actually get some more information into that? If you want to actually tell people who were not ready, well, you can easily do that. And that is in this. We can just add another space onto the end of this. I'm going to have to convert this into a list, and then include a selector here, and that selector is going to be at A. And here we're simply checking for the score. So score ready check min equals 2, because everybody who has a score of 2 in the ready check scoreboard is not ready. And we're just going to include another text 2, and it's going to say is not ready. Now here you have the fun part of managing the plurals and stuff. I'm going to leave that as an exercise to you. If you want to have two separate ones, one that run when there's only one person who's not ready, so you can say is not ready, and one that runs if there are more than one person not ready, so you can say are not ready. Because this selector here is going to evaluate to something that says either one name, so in this case sliced lime is not ready, but if it was more than one, it's going to say sliced lime and line slice is not ready. Well, or are if you add another command to fix that. Entrapment does that, kind of a polish thing, not really what you need. Let's try it out though, just to show you out now. Ready check failed, sliced lime is not ready, but then if we do both, then lime slice and sliced lime is not ready. Poor grammar. But you can easily fix that by just adding another block. But at this point, if you're advanced enough to be following this tutorial here, you should also be advanced enough to be able to figure out if there's only one person who wasn't ready, or if there are several. Anyway, we are moving on to the next part of this, which is to do something when the ready check did pass. And now before we do anything in this command block, we're going to actually have to figure out what it is we want to do when the game starts. And that relates to these things over here. We have our states here. So this now depends very heavily on what kind of a map it is that you are making. But I am going to pretty much show you how entrapment is made. We are going to be making a map here that is a PvP arena style map. And I'm going to show you how to prepare a game that can take place in a different arena out of a randomized one. So here is preparing arena. And then we probably want a state 3, which is a countdown. And then a state 4, which is a game running. So that's kind of a short outline of how this game is going to work. We're going to be wanting to move into state 2, and that's probably what you want to do here, regardless of what your actual state 2 means, is you probably just want to move into state 2. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to figure out if the ready check was successful. Now, we could easily do that if it was not successful because there was somebody who had the not ready state, but we can't use that to just execute off of somebody having the ready state, so we're going to have to do something a little bit more complex. The nice thing is, at this point, we have already determined if the game was not ready, which means we implicitly know if the game is ready to start. So actually, at this state, we can just do a scoreboard players set with a fairly complicated selector to set the correct state of the game. And that means type equals armor stand, name equals game, is not tagged with ready check, because the ready check is done, and this is important. Ready check has to be done, and its score in the state scoreboard is 1. Well, then we know that we didn't set it to 0, which obviously means that the ready check must have passed because the ready check is over. And in that case, we can change our state to 2. So if we do scoreboard objective set display sidebar state, we'll see that now we're in the state at 0. If I move over to spawn and start a ready check, we'll move over into state 1. And now if I actually throw the ready snowball for both, then we'll see that the state of the game moved into 2. And of course, once the state of the game moves into 2, we'll want to do more tile raws, we'll need more state clocks, we'll need a whole bunch of stuff. But at this point, we have completed the ready check. Now, there's potentially one more thing that you will want to add to this, and that is a thing that we do have in entrapment, and that is a timeout, so that if you have somebody who's AFK or something, then the ready check will fail rather than stand around for 15 minutes and everybody else goes AFK, and then once that person comes back, he can start the game. That's not what you want, so you might want to add on to that a timeout. But basically, all that does is you'll slot in a bunch of commands in here that can set the state back to 0 if the time runs out, and it's just a tick timer that increases by 1 each tick, and then when you reach a certain number, whatever that is, then switch the state of the game back to 0 and send a message that the ready check timed out. A large amount of what makes a map look polished and good is managing those kind of things. It takes a bunch of command blocks and is mostly tell raw work, to be honest, but giving your players information about what's going on and making sure that the game can't get stuck somehow is pretty important. But that's going to have to be enough for today. Now, for Minecraft 1.8, first of all, I'm going to ask a question of you who are watching this. Do you want me to keep doing these updates for Minecraft 1.8.9? I mean, Minecraft 1.9 is now out. I would guess that almost all the new maps that are going to come out are going to be for Minecraft 1.9, but some people might still be working on Minecraft 1.8 maps. So I need to know what your opinion is, if I should keep doing them. For this episode, I'm just going to update the Minecraft 1.8.9 map and release it so you can download it and have a look, but it's going to do the same thing. The only difference here is the tagging. We don't have tags in Minecraft 1.8, so you'll have to do a scoreboard instead, but it'll just be scoreboard that works exactly like the tags. It's a tagging scoreboard. Basically has a value of 0 or 1, so that you can test if somebody has a tag or not. That's just the basic difference between Minecraft 1.8 and Minecraft 1.9, is that Minecraft 1.8, you had to have a lot of trash scoreboards that basically only acted as a tagging scoreboard. Anyway, that's going to do it for today. Again, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comment section for the video, and I'll try to answer them as good as I can. If you have any suggestions for what you want to see later in the series, leave those as comments as well, and I'll try to get to that in later episodes. So that's it for this time, and thank you for watching. My name is slicedlime, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.